All right. So we're going to be looking at the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection International. And I'm using this as the foundation for the purpose of this video. And the purpose of this video is this. Will the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection have a training mode? The short answer, I believe, is yes. Right? The long answer is hell yeah. Because if they can do it with these games, right, from a few years back, they can easily do it with the the Legacy Collection with any of the versions available, right? And any of these old games, whether they be arcade ROMs or whatnot, they don't have training modes. They literally have a two-player, and back then we either used to practice on our friends or we'd load up a second player and just practice. But the problem with that, though, is that when you, obviously you can kill your opponent and then it goes to the second round and then it has to reset again. Right, so I'm going to show you what they've done here. Let's choose Alpha 3. By the way, in this collection, they've chosen the last version of each series. So the last version of Street Fighter 2, Super, Alpha, and then Third Strike or Street Fighter 3. You can also choose your stage. At this point, I want you to superimpose Mortal Kombat. Right, you've chosen Mortal Kombat 2. You've chose Training. Now you're going, all right, I'm gonna choose my stage. All right, I can go through all the MK2 stages. Now I get to choose the character that I want to use and the character I want to train against. So imagine that like this, but all in whatever favorite Mortal Kombat game that you're choosing, which would be pretty awesome, right? And I'm really hoping that they will actually do this for every version of the game, because some of the games feel very different. Obviously, Mortal Kombat 1 on the Game Gear feels very different. There is a character less in that roster than the main game on the Mega Drive Genesis and then Arcade and 32X. Same with the Game Boy. So I'm hoping that we have training for all of the games, so that way, we can, practice how we like. And just to show you how it actually looks, right, we're actually going to just delete this dude's health. And then that way you can actually see what happens. Right, and then, so rather than sort of like it killing the character here, okay, we've actually got it so that we've, they're just, they can't actually do anything, right? They can't do anything. They don't die. They just stand there being absolutely whooped, right? Now, if we go into training options, you can see here, you got all of these different options for training, which is really cool. Obviously, this would be modified if it was a Mortal Kombat game, depending on which Mortal Kombat game as well. Because we never got any things like super bars or anything like that until Trilogy, and it was essentially just an aggressor mode, which just increased your damage output and had that cool little blurring effect as well. But these sorts of things, like maybe timing guard, perhaps, I don't know, counter hit. Some of the people that know more about the intricacies of training modes will definitely know about this. The reason why I wanted to make this video is because and we're going to try an old game. We're going to go all the way back to Street Fighter 2 and show you that you can even do it in this as well. The reason why I'm showing this is because for anyone that struggled with classic Mortal Kombat, this is a really good way for you to actually get familiar with the game, and just try out some stuff or set the computer up to do different things. So you can obviously set it to record, which is pretty cool. Which is nice. I don't know. Actually, I don't even know how. I don't know how you go about recording. I don't know how to do that. Is there a button? There must be some button. Maybe it's on controls. Let's check it out. If there's a button you can set up for recording, training, playback. That might be. Maybe that's it. Oh, left trigger. Left trigger, perhaps. I don't know. Oh, here we go. Oh, we're recording. There we go. Excellent. Right. Nice. And then we go into training options. I'm assuming we stop it or we set it to replay. Right. And then we press that. And then I'm assuming, perhaps, here we go. Yep. He's going to then play. Right. So I'm assuming, anyway. I'm kind of alien. I've never really done too much. Oh, there we go. He's doing it now. Excellent. Right. So all the options are in there for you to customize your setup that you want for your actual your training for whatever game it is. Because there are some things. For example, you might be getting taken out of the air constantly. by a standing high kick in MK2, right? And every time you jump in, you're getting constantly, anti-aired by the standing high kick, which is an extraordinarily powerful, I mean, super powerful anti-air in classic MK, right? So it's a standing high punch, but the standing high kick or roundhouse, depending on the character you're fighting against, right? So you could have it so that they're standing there just doing like the roundhouse kick, right? And then your character will just, you'll figure out what's the best way. Should you try and jump in or whatnot? Obviously, you can throw projectiles and stuff. But what I'm saying is, though, is that if you do jump in, right, can you counter the standing high kick with a punch, right? So these are the things that be able to do with the training mode, especially for these old games. We really need this sort of thing in the collection, and I really believe that they're going to be in there, right? You can imagine how cool it will be, just to be able to choose any of the old MK games, whichever one, and then choose your character like this, and then from there you're going, yep, okay, hang on, we'll go up against Cammy, and then just sit there, just practicing away and seeing what you come up with, figuring out different techniques and whatnot, and the training levels, as I've said, all change depending on which version of the game you're choosing. Obviously, in classic MK, we didn't have all the, like, they started introducing Super Bars and Super Street Fighter 2. So that, again, the closest that we ever got was Trilogy with the Aggressor showing up, which is essentially, I would call it like the beta test for what would eventually become the X-Rays, I'd say, and that's fine. But yeah, like, so it's, I honestly think that they're going to have a training mode in here. It would make, just imagine like how cool that will be. It means that we can sit here and help each other out with playing these old classic games, doing streams and stuff like that, or videos showcasing, right, this is how you good against anti-airs and blah, 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 or this is how you do. I don't know if we should teach people the glitch jab, right? Because the glitch jab is literal AIDS when it comes to playing people online. So maybe, just maybe, it's probably not a good idea to do that, right? Yeah, that's going to be the cool part too. Now, one of the other things that they might do as well is they might also have a fatality trainer, right? So just like we have fatality trainers in the modern games, they could do it essentially in this, where you are able to activate it. They go into a stun mode, and then you can practice with like infinite time how to do the fatality. Now, obviously, when you're playing the game, you don't have infinite time, but they might make it so that you might have certain cheats enabled or access to certain cheats where you can simply just turn on infinite fatality time, one button fatalities, one hit kills, just dumb shit like that. Now, I'm assuming they are not going to add in some sort of alternate AI into the game as well. So having something like maybe a one hit kill, or the computer doing less damage on you than you do against them, for those that, and I'm saying this, for those that struggle, for those that simply just want to play through the game and just enjoy it for what it is, and they don't really care about mastering stuff against the AI or anything like that, maybe having some of those features would be fine. I'm not against that. Obviously, those things will be completely disabled when you go online to play against people. So that's why whatever you do offline with your game is your business. I don't give a shit. I don't care if you use a trainer. I don't care if you get a game set. I don't give a shit, right? I don't care. But online, naturally, these sorts of things will be disabled, and that way, it's all fair and square. But yeah, I think that the training is going to be very cool to have in there. Obviously, when they get around to doing the 3D era, that's going to be even better, like to a degree, because then that way, actually no, I think they did have training modes in the 3D era, like anyway, didn't they? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did. Yeah, so yeah, you don't even have to worry about them trying to like bake in a training mode for the 3D era. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure they had it. Anyway, correct me in the comments if you guys can tell me yes or no. But for the 2D ones, we had no training mode. So we absolutely needed to have something that we could go, yep, you know, we can sit there and we can just practice stuff, right? And we used to do that. There was a combo that me and my mate Jerry used to do all the time with Sub-Zero. So we do like a jumping, we do a jumping kick, freeze, okay, and then do a standing high punch, ice shower, all right. And if they were in the corner, then we do a jump kick, ice clone, and then, you know, go from there. And it was really cool, right? Because you were fucking around with this shit that you'll never use probably in a real fight, but you're just sort of seeing how far you can push, like you can push the computer before it starts to, you know, lock you out of going any further. So, but anyway, let me know what you guys think of this. But yeah, I think we're definitely going to get it. And I'll catch you guys next time. See you later.